We're also following the latest developments on Brexit. Tens of thousands of people protested the United Kingdom's plan to leave the European Union earlier this week.
However, Prime Minister Theresa May and her government are plowing forward. She says the Brexit deal is 95% complete.
And this progress in the last 3 weeks builds on the areas where we have already reached agreement on citizens' rights, on the financial settlement, on the implementation period, and in Northern Ireland, agreement on the preservation of the particular rights for UK and Irish citizens, and on the special arrangements between us, such as the Common Travel Area, which has existed since before either the UK or Ireland ever became members of the European Economic Community. Mr. Speaker, taking all of this together, 95% of the withdrawal agreement and its protocols are now settled.
For more on this, we want to bring in New York Times London correspondent Stephen Castle. So, Stephen, can you just sort of take us through the latest developments on negotiations? What are the biggest issues facing the Brexit process, at least right now?
Well, as you'll have heard Theresa May there saying that 95% of the deal is done. The problem is that the 5% that hasn't been done is the most difficult and the most crucial element of this. And of course, don't forget the context. Britain is due to leave the European Union in a little bit more than 5 months' time. And if there isn't an agreement at that point in March, then one risk is that Britain could have a disorderly Brexit. This could be economically very damaging. We could be talking trucks stuck in ports. We could be talking significant damage to business and to industry. So it's crucial for Theresa May that she gets some deal. The problem for her is that she's fighting on several fronts. Not only has she got to negotiate this deal in Brussels with the European Union, she's also got a problem at home where she's negotiating with her own cabinet, which is deeply divided, and where a number of members are hardline supporters of Brexit. They want a cleaner break with the European Union than Theresa May does. So she's not only got to get a deal with the European Union, she's got to get it through her own cabinet, and then she's got to get it through Parliament. And there, the numbers, whenever it goes to Parliament, could be extremely tight.
Stephen, is the PM open to exploring a possible extension?
Yeah, the debate last week, it blew up again, and this was over the issue of the transition period. At the moment, the provisional plan, is that until the end of December 2020, more or less nothing much would change while the details of the future trade arrangement are sorted out. One idea was to extend this transition period. This was, in fact, designed to help Theresa May because she has a problem. She needs to try and resolve the issue of the Irish border and to ensure that there are really no big, heavy physical checks at the border between Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK, and Ireland, which is going to remain in the European Union. And if you extend this transition period, that would give her a little bit more time to sort that issue out. The problem is the hardliners who support Brexit see this as a trap. They think this means paying more money into the European Union for yet another year, while Britain would be obeying European rules, yet having no say over how they're made.
You mentioned how Theresa May is sort of negotiating on many fronts, right? She's trying to sort of get Brexit going. She's going to have to renegotiate deals with other countries, trade deals, and she's negotiating with her own party. Could this cost her her job, no matter how things end up?
Her job has been under threat really for more than a year now. Since the election she called last year, she wanted to get an increased parliamentary majority. She actually lost the one she had. There's no doubt that the volume of criticism, the volume of noise against her within her party has grown in recent weeks. The facts haven't really changed, however. Under the rules of the Conservative Party leadership, it's pretty clear that her enemies, her internal enemies, could force a vote of no confidence in her. But it's also pretty clear that they cannot by any means guarantee winning that. So she could emerge from that process strengthened. Now, those numbers, as I say, they haven't changed. They might change if and when we see a deal, if she negotiates that with the European Union. And we see the detail, and the hardline Brexit supporters don't like it. But Mrs. May will hope that if that situation comes about, when the push comes to shove at the final moment, her internal critics will back away as they have done always so far.
Stephen, real quick in 20 seconds, we got to go. But the protests that we've seen, I mean, we've got people who are watching us here in the UK. One person tweeted at me, this is splitting our major parties apart. He was a person who voted to remain. You see those protests. How are people feeling about it?
Well, there was a huge protest. Around about 700,000 people took to the streets. And don't forget, British people generally don't protest. So this was a very big demonstration. But you have to bear in mind that in Britain, 1 million people protested against the war in Iraq, going to war in Iraq, and the war in Iraq still happened. The final action is going to be with Parliament, and Parliament will decide what happens next.
All right, Stephen Castle, thank you very much.